The Avs are going streaking in the Winners Lounge, the Toyota Winners Lounge, brought to you by your Front Range Toyota dealerships. Even he's doing, I don't even know what that dance is called, to be honest. Is that the Frank the Tank? I've never actually watched that movie. I'm not going to lie. I know the clip. I've seen the clip. I've never watched the whole movie. This is the DNVR Avalanche post-game show brought to you by Bet365 as the Avs to beat the Penguins 4-1. Score may be a little bit deceiving. There's two empty netters in there. It was a close game through and through. I liked this game for the wrong reasons, I think. I think you look at a significant portion of this game and you know the Avs have more than what they gave. But you know what? They won the game anyway. And this time of year, that's the only thing that matters.
It's a cliche, but it's so true. Good teams find ways to win. And that is so true. I'm going to bag on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Struggling teams find ways to lose.
Yep.
They do.
Yep.
It's a 1-1 game. Beauvillier, not on purpose, his sticks in the wrong offensive zone. 200 feet away from your net, and then he trips for the only power play of the Avalanche of the game, and they capitalize on it. Yep. So good teams find ways to win. Struggling teams find ways to lose, and that's exactly what you saw tonight in my book.
Bingo. And it's good to see the Avs on the right side of that conversation. Not that there wasn't a lot of good things. We'll get into all the good things and the bad from tonight. I think a good portion of both in tonight's game. But the number one takeaway for me is the Avs found a way to win in a different way. We didn't have to sit here and walk you through a 5-goal game where they dominated and everything worked for them and it was an easy win. They had to go out and work for this one. And at times, they weren't doing the effort. In portions of the second period, I think you felt a little bit disappointed in what the Avs were giving you. But they got back up on the horse, and they got the job done.
Yeah, it felt a little bit like, forget about the last few games, but it felt a little bit like, forget about the break for a second. Before that, I know they were 4-1, but in that 10-game segment there was games where, they lost, and it was always the same loss. Because they scored one goal. They didn't get involved emotionally in the game, and then, tonight was different, like you said. It was more, felt like a little bit like that, but they found a way, and again, we'll talk about Wedgwood, and, everything else was clicking. You finally get your power play, you capitalize on it, and that's the difference in the game.
Yep, bingo. A lot of angles to this one. I want to start with that since you brought up the 4-1 before the break. Yeah, you had the two losses out of the break that mentally I crashed out. I straight up crashed out after those two games. And you know what? They win the next 3 in a row. And you know what that makes their last 10? 7-3.
700 hockey.
Pretty good.
You play 700 hockey, you finish first. Close to first overall, pretty much, usually.
You're finishing in the top 5 of the league for sure. There's no doubt about that.
So that's a very good pace with 2 stinkers. Wow. 1 stinker on the scoreboard, 1 stinker on the ice. Nashville was a stinker on the scoreboard. St. Louis was a stinker all around.
Yeah. Agree. Getting into tonight's game, though, I don't know. Can you give me a vibe for this game overall? Because it felt a little all over the place to me.
Felt a little bit all over the place. But they've been great all year long in 1-goal games. They have been great all year long in 1-goal games. So they were never behind. They never chased the game. You know what I mean? So, they take the lead, then they give it up, and then, then you're not behind. You're just, you're even. So, I felt, like I said to you, I didn't feel good in the second. I liked the pace in the first period. I didn't mind it. I thought they were,
I agree. Yeah.
I thought there was some passion, a little bit of intensity. I just felt that it wasn't going anywhere in the second. I would have liked to see the spark somewhere. I didn't really see it, And then the third period came down to close it out. They did. It took all the way to for them at 4 minutes to go with the power play. But you capitalize on it. You make a big play. You got good saves at the right time from Wedgwood.
We'll get to him. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. So it all kind of clicked together, and then you strung a victory. Now, this is your 3rd in a row. And then you got the San Jose Sharks coming in. You got to respect everybody in the National Hockey League. I'm not saying that. But, again, one of the worst teams in the league. You should pounce on that and make sure that you're going 4-0. Now you're really into something. You know what I mean? And So that's the way they should look at it as today. It's a big win. It's a big loss for Pittsburgh. They were kind of out before coming in, but now they're
definitely
feels like they're really out. Coming out of the break, it's been just pitiful for them. I think it's a big win. I look at it as they found a way to win. They used their first line, their power play, I forget about the two, empty net goals, but they found ways to cap where you're supposed to find ways, right? You top of your lineup, your power play, and then you close it out, obviously, with some empty netters. But yeah, overall, it's a positive game for the Avalanche. It's not a perfect game by any means, but it's certainly 3 wins in a row is a big step in the right direction.
It's a couple of things for me. One, if you look at the underlyings of this game, yes, at times I don't think the Avs played very well tonight, but the actual shots on goal are a little bit deceiving. And if you want to punish the Avs for not hitting the net enough tonight, fair enough. Yeah. I think that's definitely fair. But actual possession metrics, Corsi attempts at 5-on-5, 50 for the Avs, 52 for the Penguins. So it was a pretty darn even game on the possession front, really. Now, the Avs did give up probably more scoring chances than you would like against. Fair enough. Out high-dangered 9-12. I did feel like the statisticians were a little bit generous to Pittsburgh in the first period high dangers, but whatever. I'm not the algebra genius here.
Yeah.
I'm not going to argue with it. Ultimately, part of that is even more credit to Wedgwood. The other side of it is, for the first time in a while, the Avs needed a good goalie performance, got it, and then took advantage of it. It feels like there is a little bit of something there to Colorado where a lot of their losses over the last stretch have felt like your goalie gave you a chance and you came up short.
Yeah.
For once, they did not come up short in that category. And I'm not saying, their offense was good enough. I think there are a lot of holes at 5-on-5 in the Avs offense tonight. But what they did was they capitalized on their opportunities.
Boy, oh boy, I love that first goal. I'm not going to lie to you. That's great effort. Marty doesn't get a point there. That was great effort on the wall. Great effort by both. I don't remember who both these were on that play, but, I think they closed that gap earlier in the shift. And then Marty and then, what's his name, Mac behind the net makes, wins the battle, gets the puck, and it's a sharp pass to Lecky. And it's boom. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's how you're leading the team in goals. You're hitting the net. You're confident with your ability in tight. You said it, shot from the middle of the ice there. Get to the middle, get to the inside. That's how you score goals. That's why Lecky's scoring goals. He gets there. He gets involved. I know he plays with Mac. I don't care. It doesn't matter who he plays with. Does the right things. Of course. And then it's a big play. And, that sets the tone. And, because it was 0-0 after the first, right? So that's a big goal. I believe in first goals of games. You know that. I'm a big believer in it. More often than none, you're winning the game.
Avs have made it hard to believe in that this year, but it worked out this time.
No, I know. The Avs are an anomaly on that stat, but usually you score first. It's a big component of an NHL game.
Yep.
The Avs are just killing me on this, but I like it when they do, and then they just kept going tonight in a sense that they never fall behind because Wedgwood, we'll talk about it, and then he was there for the big saves, and then you never really were chasing the game. You were never behind. I love the fact that first line connected. They made some switches after that. Whatever, I understand that. It is what it is. You're trying to do different things, and I like that because if it stays stale and nothing happens, then we'd be the first ones to complain. God, change it up, So, you change it up a little bit to see if you can get a little bit more punch, and, it just ended up working on the power play, not on 5-on-5.
And look, here's part of the difference for me on a night like tonight is you got production out of your entire top 6. I know it comes on the power play, but you still got it. Honestly, I really didn't love the Avs' bottom 6 forward core tonight. I didn't think they were very good for the majority of the game, but you can get away with that because you got a 2-point night out of Nathan MacKinnon. Both big points. You got a 2-goal night out of Lecky. One's an empty netter, but the other one, big goal. Lehkonen and Mittelstadt connect on the most important goal of the game. Having a top 6 instead of a top line is the difference between winning and losing these games.
It is, and that's why you can't say the Avs are a one-line team. You know what I mean? They're not. when Val's back
they were for a little bit.
But that's right.
And that's why they were struggling.
The injuries and everything. But now if you got everyone, again, knock on wood, if you got everyone going, I'll tell you one thing. It's important because you can find ways to score goals, with two lines. You can find ways to lower the load a little bit of that top line. I know Bednar talked a little bit yesterday and Chris C-Mac the last couple days about taking a load off of Kale and Devon Tays, and it's the same thing.
You're reading
the
my
top
mind,
line is
buddy.
gonna, what?
You're reading my mind there, buddy.
That's what I'm saying. If you're if the first line is gonna play 28 minutes, on the max of the world, like you got to bring it down a little bit. I know the horse likes to go and he likes to get in there, but I don't know what the ice time is tonight.
Mac led the forwards with 21. Your top pairing only played 22.
I think
Taves played 24.
But still.
But you're not getting up into 28 territory.
And even for Mac, you know what I mean? And it's a lot of ice time, man. And when you hit stretches of 5 and 8 games or 3 and 4, it makes a difference, man. Yep. It's a lot of mileage that you don't need to add. And I think that's what they're accomplishing a little bit with those last few trades. And I don't know. We'll see. You know what I mean? We'll see. But it's certainly working right now like the way they had planned it a little bit. Again, you're chasing the game. You're losing 1-0, 2-0. Numbers might be a little different right now, ice time-wise. But whenever you're playing a game like this, and this was a tight game till 4 minutes to go, they'll go on the power play. And it's not like Nate played 28 minutes. You know what I mean? So this was until the power play at the end. That you're talking about a 21-minute.
Comes in and he breaks the 20-minute mark for the Avs tonight, plays a ton. His possession metrics aren't great. A lot of defensive end time spent for him, but there's some expectation of that being who he is. Played nearly 2 minutes on the penalty kill. Came in huge. That second penalty taken by Devon Taves. He steps up. Cale Makar, the only guy who played more on the penalty kill for the Avs tonight. That PK goes 2 for 2. What did you make of him tonight?
For me, Ryan Lindgren is, I'll say it again. I said it when we did the emergency pod. There's nothing sexy about his game. It's meat, potato, raw. It's just, and I just looked at a few highlights on altitude that they were showing. It's the guy that will give you that little shot there in front of the net without taking a penalty. It's the guy that will make it hard in front of the net. It's the guy that will make you think twice a little bit going in the corner. This might be a battle. He's just a warrior mentality type player. I understand he's got almost 20 points this year, but in my mind, those are extra. You know what I mean? If he can play great on the PK, if he can be physical and nasty and bring that little element, if he played 20 minutes on the third pair, you're doing pretty good. You know what I mean? Right? You know what I mean? I'm not sure what Shilly played and all that stuff, but
I can check for you.
Again,
15 for Shilly.
Yeah, so the minutes were pretty good, but for me, Ryan Lindgren, that's what he is. He'll block shots, but I don't think he's gonna pin you down in your own end. I didn't see him get pinned down one time. He didn't make the play, and then he ended up paying for it. Got a couple shots against. But I think this is a guy that plays simple. If he can learn to. Not learn, but once he plays a couple games and he figures it out that there's a lot of forwards on that team that you just give the puck to and make that simple 5-foot pass, let them go, and get the puck out of the zone. I got no problem with him. I like the trade. I'll say it again. I do like because he brings something different than other guys do. Now you got Josh maybe coming in soon, right?
Yep.
So now all of a sudden you're talking about a little bit of snarl, a little bit of bite. I understand Josh hasn't had his best year this year. We all know that. He knows that. But he still brings a little bit of something else. And this is a guy that also likes to jump on the play, Josh. And we make fun of it all the time because he'll jump in. He makes plays. So I'm not worried about the Avs decor. I actually like it, that it's a little bit different now. Now you got a couple whiskey drinkers, you know what I mean? Yeah. Instead of 6 wine drinkers. So I like it. I like what he brings, and I think it was a good start for him. But you can tell he's that guy that just will, they'll play a team game, they'll play a tough game, and I will do anything to win. And I think, that's what he brought you tonight. He wasn't spectacular. You're never going to see spectacular out of him. You're going to see consistency. You're going to see some snarl, and you're going to see something that adds to the decor of the Avalanche.
Well, I'm more of a beer drinker myself, but I'll take it whatever you're drinking. When the Avs win, we got to pay some bills here before we get into some of the keys. We are brought to you by Bet365, the presenting sponsor. You can use code DNVR365 today to get signed up with a new account on Bet365. You put in $10, you bet $5 on anything. Win or lose, they'll give you $150 in bonus bets. So that's just $150 to play with on Bet365. You can have fun. I hit 2 of 3 tonight. Got the no goal in the first 10 minutes. Got the Val power play point, which is plus 300, by the way. So I made good money tonight on Bet365. You jump in with those. Of course, if you don't want to bet on hockey, you can bet on the Nuggets. You can bet on pretty much any other sport under the sun when it comes to Bet365. So make sure you're going over there, getting with Bet365 today and using that DNVR365 code, whatever you're betting on. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Of course, when you do gamble with Bet365, you must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER today. And once you've won a little bit of money on Bet365, go get yourself a new pair of sunglasses with Shady Rays. Jump on over with Shady Rays. Use code DNVR at checkout, and you'll get 35% off any pair of their polarized sunglasses, which they have hundreds of pairs of. You can get different colors. You can get different styles. Whatever it is, they've got you covered. They've even got ski and snowboard goggles. If you're blind like Eric, you can get correction sunglasses. It works that way, too. So jump in, go get your sunglasses with Shady Rays. They've been given 5 stars by over 300,000 people. So get with them, get your checkout, use that code DNVR and get 35% off your next pair of sunglasses at shadyrays.com. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. We want to get into our 3 stars of the game here. And I think there are some cases live with the shortcomings of a hockey player when they score goals like that for you. And is it a great setup by Val? Sure. There are other good plays on that play, but Casey finished it. How many other goals in this game did we see fall short because Parker Kelly missed the net? Parker Kelly shot it into the chest. Kiviranta missed the net. There are a bunch of dudes who had opportunities to be that guy that didn't finish it. Mittelstadt is the one that did.
Going to have a meeting with those guys about shooting 5-hole. That's what I'm going to do this week. I'll tell you what I liked about Casey Mittelstadt. That's why I love that you gave him the 3rd star. Or in French, they say the 3rd star, the 3rd star.
What? Trois?
But, you know, but the announcer.
Estrella de Trois. I don't know how you.
But in the announcer back growing up, they always said, La troisième étoile, the 3rd star. And I'd be like, oh, God, what do you mean? The guys would be like, what do you mean, turd? Like, who's the bad player of the game? Like, the 3rd star. And so that's all guys make fun of French guys in the locker room. It's all good. It's all fun and games. I love it. No, but I like your pick because I'll tell you one thing. If you're bored later, just watch it. Casey Mittelstadt does not show emotions. It just doesn't. Watch the emotions. We talked about Ross Colton the other day when he's going like this. He was so pumped. He would get that second assist off his leg or what. I don't remember. Like it was like a secondary play, but got him on the board after 15 games, and then all of a sudden, boom, he gets 5 points in 2 games, whatever it was, right? Casey obviously scored a couple big goals, right? You know,
yep.
But it doesn't matter. They never play the second unit. You know that. We know that. On that shift, they do. Everybody changed except the dog. The dog stayed out there, far side was barking. You know, I'm not coming near the master. You know what I mean? Like, I'm staying on the ice. And then Val comes in there, and then Casey, that's a big play. He shows a lot of emotions. He's excited. He's pumped. I like that.
Yep.
I like that. If Casey can show some emotion, play with some emotion, you're right. He had a couple tough shifts in the first day. We're like, oh, yikes, you know. But found a way to come back, found a way to be a factor in the game on the right side of things. So I like when you see emotions from Casey. And again, what a play by Val there.
Yeah,
but
we'll get to him.
Still, I'm just saying, like, it was awesome to see Casey show some emotions.
It's important for the Avs. And, you know, whatever happens at the deadline happens, but you're operating with the team you have until it's something different. And the Avs don't need Casey Mittelstadt to be a perfect player. They don't need him to do everything right. but they need him to produce on a regular basis, and he did. He scored the most important goal of this hockey game.
Yeah.
It's his second goal in the last 3 games. That's the version of Casey Mittelstadt that you can live with.
Again, I always talk about the power play. It's hard to produce if you don't play on the power play. And Casey, we all know, plays the second power play, and we all know they average about 8 seconds a night on the second power play. You might have 1 chance a month on the power play. So it helps padding your, when I say padding, feeding your stats, feeding your ego, feeding your game. So I think tonight you saw that. All of a sudden he takes the opportunity because they changed at the 1 minute mark. And it's like, oh, this is what we can do. And it gives confidence to the coaching staff. It gives confidence to the other players to know that, yeah, other guys can do it too, right? We always talk about Val would like him in the first power play. Well, tonight he wasn't. Lecky's there, which we all love Lecky. That's not what we're saying. But all of a sudden you can't keep those horses on the bench. You know what I mean? You got to get them out there. And I think whatever it was, maybe the situation made it that they switched because the puck got out of the zone right at the right time, and they were given a minute. Next thing you know, they go in there, make the big play of the game. I think it's awesome.
Casey did talk in the locker room after the game. Let's hear what he had to say about this one.
Looked like it felt pretty good there to get the game winner there.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think it was our best anyone tonight, but I found a way to win, and heck of a play by Val to find me, and made my job easy. So yeah, felt good for sure.
What was off about the group tonight?
I think sometimes you had a little break there before and you get a little sluggish maybe. I think we started slow and, they jumped on us and maybe we were chasing it from there. And, like I said, though, we had to win a period to win a game, and, I thought it was a pretty solid third.
How about that pass from Val just on that play?
Yeah, that was a heck of a pass. Like I said before, put it right on my tape and made my job pretty easy. So, thankful for that.
How did Scott Marchwood give you guys a chance to win throughout the course of this game?
Yeah, he was great. I think he's been great since he's been here, and tonight I thought, especially early, kept us in the game and made some big saves for us. And like I said, eventually got to the point, just win the third and win a game, and I thought we did a good job in the third.
Did you feel it was kind of a disconnect, a little bit of low energy with the team coming out tonight?
Yeah, I think maybe a little bit of a sluggish start. I think they came out, they played fast, and I thought they jumped on us a bit, and I keep saying it, but I thought we did a good job holding together and getting to the third, and then just win the period and getting out of there with 2 points.
Even though you don't love the start of this game, do you continue to build momentum off some of the confidence of how you guys finish?
Yeah, for sure. I think anytime you don't play your best, you find a goal there and get a win, I think it's pretty big. So, to know that you can win when you maybe don't have your A game is definitely a confidence boost for the team.
So, I think something very important to take there. Because especially if you're a guy like Casey who's had an up and down season, you felt like you got a big goal, you're a big part of this. You want to talk about winning culture? Guy gets the big goal, scores the big goal, wins the game for you, comes out in the locker room and says, you know what, we really didn't play very well tonight, but we won anyway. That's a team that knows what the score is. That's a team that knows they needed 2 points tonight, but knows they need to play better than that too.
Again, I'm not here to defend Casey, because I've done that enough this year. What I'll say is he comes in last year, it's like a honeymoon, right? You know what I mean? And he's like, it's working, and then he has a good playoff. And this year he's learning how to be on a championship minded team for a full year. It's a lot of commitment. It's not a 2-month thing. It's not like from deadline, till whatever it is. And he's learning. And I think you'll have ups and downs. And he certainly has had ups and downs. He'll be the first one to say it. I think Chris talked about it yesterday. Was it yesterday that he met the press? Yesterday, yeah. About, the Casey that they got last year was great. And playoffs was great. This year, the start of the year, was great. Then there was a dip. You know what I mean? I think he'd be the first one to admit it. So, but that's normal. That's okay. And then it's all part of learning to be on a championship team. And I like that he's showing emotion. I like that tonight, what he said, like he's learning. If he was in Buffalo, he might have said, yeah, great win for the boys tonight. You know what I mean? Where this is like, hey, this is a big win. Even though we weren't playing well, we found a way to win. And those are the wins that matter because you have to do that, especially in playoffs.
And I want to move on to our second star here,
Yep.
who is the good stick Lecky himself and Arturi Lehkonen. Here's why these two guys are on my 3 stars. What the Avs have needed is guys converting on opportunities, finishing plays. Both of these guys got set up great tonight. Lecky's first goal is a great play by the rest of the top line. Casey's goal is a great play by Val Nichushkin. But far too many losses this year have come from those plays not ending up in the back of the net. So credit where credit is due for finishing these plays.
Absolutely. You're bang on. Because part of hockey is, the main objective of hockey is to put that rubber thing there in the back of the mesh net.
Yep.
And it's not an easy thing to do. It's not be like critical here. It's a tough thing to do. It's the toughest thing to do in hockey. That's why it makes me laugh when people say, "Oh, he's one-dimensional. He can only score goals." Well, that's probably a good
kind
problem
of the most
to have.
important thing to be able to
It's
do.
a good problem to have. But I'm not talking about necessarily about anybody here. I'm saying you hear that a lot in hockey. So, but they capitalize on 2 big plays. Lecky's just been doing that all year. Lecky just does everything right.
Yep.
He's the fixer. You can tell McKinnon loves playing with him. Who wouldn't want to play with him? He does everything right. He works hard. He shuts his mouth, and he just goes and drives and does plays. And, it's fun to watch. He's having a career year, absolutely.
2 ways to know you're doing the right things. Number 1, his first goal. Where is he on the ice?
Middle, you called it.
Bang. Number 2, his second goal. You think you're under a guy's skin when you're cruising in towards an empty net and Evgeny Malkin is lumberjacking both of your legs while you're doing it?
I know.
That's if the other guys are doing that to you, you know you're doing something right.
And that's why we say he's tough.
Yep.
I mean, because I always say that. Like, Val's not tough. He plays hard. He's not tough. You know what I mean? Like, he's not tough. Plays hard.
Yep.
They're annoying. You know what I mean? There are no. You're at the face off. You look to your right or left, whatever the face off is, and you're like, God, not that dude again. You know what I mean? Like, God, this is not an easy shift. This guy's a pain. He's always in the right spot. He's always like doing the little things right. He's always impeding your play, your speed, your route. I mean, God. I mean, you look at that trade again. It goes down in one of the best trades that the Avalanche have ever made in my book.
Yeah, it's up there. It's definitely up there. Our number 1 star for the night, not Val Nichushkin, Scott Wedgwood. 32 saves. Only gives up 1 goal. Look, is this the normal? No. You can't go into any game expecting your backup goalie to perform at that level. And yet he did. He put up the numbers that, the Avs had a lead. They never trailed those things. I don't want to necessarily say he kept them in the game, but he did not break. He did not cave under the pressure in the stretches of the game where the Avs weren't performing. The reason Casey Mittelstadt's able to score a clutch goal is because Scott Wedgwood did not let in one the other way.
Hey, bingo. Here's the way I'm going to, instead of using him, he was awesome. The Home Depot brothers, the wood shack, lumberyard. I love it. I thought that was a great call by them. That was a right start for him. That was the perfect game to give Blackwood a little bit of a break. I thought Wedgwood, his first game, the other day played fine in Nashville. He just didn't get it was kind of one of those weird games, right? Didn't get a lot of help. It just didn't go his way. The Avalanche were fine, but it didn't go his way. But it was certainly not his fault. What I'm trying to say here is, for me, I look at Scott Wedgwood. If you're going to compare him to a player, not a goaltender, a ice skater, for me, he's a bottom 6, right? That's what he is. He's a depth guy.
Energy goalie. Yeah.
That's it. And for me, what he brought tonight is what I was critical, a little bit of the bottom 6 there, is he was energetic, he was passionate, and he was engaged. Yeah. And for me, that's why he made a difference there. You know what I mean? Obviously, he's a goaltender. He's not going to score a goal, but he brought what he's supposed to bring and more. And that's why he's the first star tonight, But if the Avs, for me, secondary guys are Val, Taze, Lecky, the third wave of guys, you know what I mean? Whatever you want to call that. I'm French, don't know the word, the third kind of set. If they can take a lesson from Scott Wedgwood, I don't care that he's a goalie. I'm saying That's what you need to do.
Sure.
And that's what you need to do to make a difference on a consistent level, on a consistent basis.
I do want to hear from Scott Wedgwood, but first we do have to pay some bills. So let's get to that, and then we'll get to some interviews for you. As this podcast is brought to you by Mando. Which goal was the filthiest tonight? The Val pass? The Val sauce pass?
Yeah, that was filthy.
All right. I'm good with that. He's got to get some Mando on the stick. He's got to clean it up. It's a little stinky, if you know what you're saying. Whether it's your hockey stick, your grundle, your butt cracks, your balls, they've got you covered in Mando, all right? Make sure you jump in with them and get the starter pack. You get $5 off their starter pack with code DNVR, and it comes with 4 products, including both stick and cream deodorant, and then 2 products of your choice. So jump on with Mando today. They have a bunch of amazing scents to make you smelling right and good, whatever scent you might be into, and a bunch of other great products too. So go get with them. Make sure you're getting on with their, again, starter pack. You can customize it to what you want. They've got tons of options. It's a whole body deodorant, safe to use anywhere on your body, created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed. So they know what they're talking about. Make sure you get in with them. Get in on that special offer. It's also free shipping on the starter pack with code DNVR. On top of that, $5 off. That's 40% off the starter pack price. So head on over to shopmando.com and use that DNVR code as the cops fly by, because this deal's just too good.
Yeah.
That's shopmando.com to get this deal today. Please support our show. Tell them we sent you there. Stay fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando. Once you're smelling good, feeling clean, feeling right, make sure you also are taking care of your rest of your body, because smelling good is good, but also you got to be feeling good. And that's where UC Health comes into play. This is the DNVR Avalanche podcast brought to you by UC Health. Make sure you're jumping in with them and taking care of not just your physical health, your mental health, your sleep health, whatever it might be. I know my boy E has like 50,000 steps since he's come to Denver again. You're walking like crazy, taking care of yourself real good. He's got the numbers.
I'm going to look right now.
He's also being good. He's eating right, staying on the. He only had coffee today.
No, I a little bit of a Diet Coke. You know, I'm not gonna lie, which is rare that I do have diet soda. But there you go,
17,000 steps today. That's crazy. That's a crazy number right there.
Yeah.
When you want to make sure you're being healthy, get with UC Health. Learn more about living like there is a tomorrow. Go to uchealth.org for more info. UC Health, live extraordinary. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. I promised you the Wedgwood interview, which we'll get to because he is the Live Extraordinary player of the game with UC Health. Again, I want to reiterate, a 970 is a great save percentage for any goalie, but for a backup to come in and play like that for you, and yeah, okay, Pittsburgh's not any good. They put 33 shots on net. That team has Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin. Sure, their depth might not be great, but let's not pretend like that's an easy night for a goaltender.
I'm starting to fall in love with him. He knows who he is. He knows what he is, and that's why he is getting longevity in the National Hockey League as a backup goaltender. That can help you more. Again, if we look at the stats from before the game, this was 45th game of the season. That's a record. Kidding. We all know those were the wrong stats. But you know, at the end of the day, this is not easy sometimes. You're not in the groove when you don't play a lot, but this guy works hard every day at practice. He's there. He's engaged. He engages the players at practice. He engages the coaching staff. It's fun to watch. This is what brings teams together. He sits on the bench. It's easy to sit as a backup, put a towel around your net and the ball cap, and then just sit there like and not say nothing. You can tell he's engaged all the time with everybody and like this and like that, and he's engaged. He's engaged in the game. And you can tell he's probably vocal in the locker room when he doesn't play. Even when he plays, he's one of those dudes. He doesn't look like, you know, the weird goalie or whatever, that stereotype of goalies, right?
Sure.
You know, he talks to the media game day. Like, he's not like, you know, all about like, you know, being quiet and walking away. And, you know, so it's fun to have. It's been a big difference, obviously, since he's been here with, you know, Blackwood. It's a great tandem. I think these two can make some damage here down the stretch.
Talked about him being a chatter. Let's see what he had to say in the locker room after this one.
I played the last 2 games with, I think, combined what I worked for tonight and with the Nashville and Boston game. So we had the puck a lot more in those 2 games, and you know, I guess kind of unfortunate execution on on the offensive side, I think guys were obviously a little bit just discombobulated, for lack of a better word, but we held ourselves accountable and found a way to win in the third. Going into a third period tied at 1, and they're a highly offensive team, and we came out on top, and that's all you need right now is 2 points.
It seemed like you were getting a lot of contact tonight. Were you talking with the ref a bit about that?
No, I was actually asking Wes why he kicked my stick away from me, but yeah, I mean, 2 of them, I'm just, it's hockey play. I wasn't actually concerned with anything. I just wanted to make sure that he knew that I was obviously contacted twice on the one play. But I knew the first one Malcolm got pushed in, and you can't really do anything. You're exposed to take up contact, which is fine. But just want to make him aware, and he was right on board with both calls. They were pushed in, but it would have been no goal, just no penalty either. So it happens, and got to battle through some stuff.
What can you say about this team's resilience coming back after kind of a little bit of a sluggish start?
No, I mean, they're talking in here. Everybody wants to obviously be perfect all the time, and it's never that easy. So held ourselves accountable. Obviously, put ourselves in a position to win in the third period, and then went out and did that. So, obviously you want to look at it, be better, and execute better, but you can't be perfect. And to find a way to win in those nights is a testament to the team.
We're starting a little bit. How'd you feel?
Actually, really good. Working with UC through the time off, and then obviously the 2 slow games I played with Nashville and Boston with not a lot of shots, but I think it kind of helps you get a little bit of work early. I don't know if I hit the 20 mark in the last couple of games, so to get that kind of workload, obviously I feel like you just kind of stay in the rhythm a little bit more, and rebounds are good, and control is good. Nice play on their goal, nothing I really could have changed, but obviously would love to make another save there, but I felt good all around.
Felt good all around. Certainly when you only give up 1 goal, it feels good. Wedgie, the number 1 star, but it's more than just that tonight. Jared Bednar talked about the whole team in his presser. Let's see what Coach had to say after the Avs found a way to go streaking.
Go ahead, questions for Jared.
Coach, the team started out a little sluggish. What can you say about the team's resilience to kind of come back?
Well, thank God we had, a handful of guys that played really well. Because starting with Wedgie, he was outstanding. We did not move the puck at all tonight. So turnovers after turnovers, the scoring chances against, it was ugly. And we had some compete. We had some guys play really hard in some areas to try and cover up some of those mistakes. But we beat up the puck pretty bad tonight, like the worst I've seen for a while. But we did have a couple guys that played really well. It was just trying to find a mix to get them out there and together sometimes to try and create and move the puck efficiently. And we got slightly better as the game went on for sure. But mismanagement of the puck, too many scoring chances against, but Wedgie was awesome.
It seemed like you had 4 or 5 good chances in the first period. Did it kind of start to dip from there?
Well, we didn't get, I don't know if, first half of the second period, I don't know if we had any because we couldn't get over the red line. So first period, when we got in their zone, we did some good things. And then late in the second, we had a couple good opportunities too, scored on one of them. And it was drawing a power play was pretty tough tonight because we weren't moving the puck efficiently and we weren't skating with it because we couldn't find any room. We were just our first pass was terrible, and if we made that, our second pass was terrible. So, but then we get the 1 power play chance, and some of the guys that were going tonight made nice plays on that and put it in the back of the net. So, we'll take it, but certainly, that wasn't great.
You just mentioned in the second period, it seemed like you guys had a hard time getting the zone. How much of that was stuff that they were doing well, and how much was what you're just talking about?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. They have an effective forecheck. It's one of the tops in the league right now, and they've been checking pretty hard. They've been one of the most dangerous teams offensively. They've had a little bit of trouble keeping the puck out of their nets, but they used their forecheck well tonight, and we just. We weren't making, we had open guys that we could move it to. Our decision making and the puck play was just not good. Some of those, when you're facing a really good forecheck, you got to go up and out with it into the neutral zone. So we did that effectively a couple times, couldn't come up with the puck from our wings, but the turnovers in zone led to some, too much extended time and too many scoring chances against. I thought some of our D had a rough night.
I think Nate just 2 shifts in those final 14 minutes. Is that injury or is that one?
So he wasn't feeling good tonight. So he was kind of struggling with nausea and everything all night, and he was having a rough night because of it. So I was trying to like use him a little bit, and like he had some really good scoring chances. It was part of some good things in the first period, and but he just seemed to be kind of deteriorating as the game went on. So I was moving some guys around to try and help Mac.
How did you feel about Ryan Lindgren's Avalanche debut, and what do you think moving forward for him?
He was solid. I think he was our, like tonight, as far as puck play goes and defending hard and in the zone, I thought he was our best D tonight. Yeah. So, and again, it's not flashy. He's not going to wow you, but he's effective, getting things done. Kale had lots of jumps. I thought Taser did some good things, but they fought the puck and had some turnovers tonight that we normally don't see from those guys, but they stuck with it and made some plays and definitely were more dynamic. But Lindgren was pretty solid on the back end.
You've talked a lot about having depth in the lineup in here in recent weeks, obviously with all the forwards coming in and coming back.
Yeah.
Is it nice for that top power play unit to not capitalize and then be able to bring out guys like Nichushkin and Mittelstadt for?
Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's huge. Like, right, we get about a half a change there. Like, Max stayed. Actually, he might have been the only guy left on the ice there. But they get a good entry. And, yeah, I mean, Val's he's a horse on the power play. Like, we've gone pretty good without him in the lineup, so we want to leave it. And, I think Val's still finding his game a little bit, but he's been on the ice now for 2 power play goals since he's been back in very minimal time, right? One he scored and then the other night. And so we'll keep bouncing those guys around and kind of going with a hot hand if we can. Yeah.
The anatomy of that play, do you like him, taking it to the net, opening up a little space for Casey and then that pass over, as opposed to, maybe shooting it and recovering?
Yeah, I think it just depends on the play. Like, you got to make a read on the ice. It's happening fast, but playing underneath it and bringing it to the, like Val, that was an unbelievable play by Val to bring it to the net, because they get underneath 3 of their guys and then bring it, and that guy at the net front's outnumbered, and he's got to worry about Val's length and bringing it. We had a guy coming downhill in the middle of the ice, and then you still had Casey in the back door. Great play by all those guys. Even Casey, if he stays too wide and hangs out on his flank for too long, that play's not there, and you see they tried it against us multiple times and with their power play, and we broke up a couple. They got a couple rebound whacks at a few of those, but it's whenever that puck's laying in the crease and you got positive numbers in there, it becomes dangerous, so it has to be part of your power play attack.
Casey Mittelstadt, 2 goals in the last 3 games too. As far as an eye test goes, is there anything that you've kind of noticed with this game recently?
Well, you got to the power play is a pretty good example, and it's not always the case, but I like the way he came to the net. Like goals at this time of the year are mostly going to get scored, around the net, within a radius of the net, and he gets into that area tonight and scores again. He did the other night as well, so that's a good positive step. Yep.
Really good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
There you go. Bedsy brutally honest about it, but also talking about it being good positive steps. So it can be both things. The other guy I wanted to talk about specifically, I guess there's a couple of guys, but if you watched Altitude, you probably know this stat. They showed it after tonight. If you include tonight's game, the Avs record for the last 8 games of Val Nichushkin in the lineup?
8-0.
8-0.
Sorry.
What can you say?
It just... He makes a difference. He just does. You know what I mean? Like, he's... And I bet you, like, we should have a pod one day on that. Like, less than a handful of guys around the National Hockey League that you can compare him to. They're such unicorns. They're different. They don't grow on trees, those guys. Like oranges and apples. Like, they're just, like... They're rare. It's just rare.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And the combo of skill, size, power... Imagine if he was mean, you know what I mean? Like, that'd be scary. He'd be at the top of the league.
He'd be Matthew Tkachuk, basically.
Yeah, he'd be at the top of the league. Like, again, Matthews, he's scary. I don't know. Val's a big human being. If he was like scary with that, that'd be scary. If that makes sense.
I get you.
Yeah. No, it's fun. It's exciting. And listen, we all knew that. Everyone knew that. Coaches knew that. Like, listen, if you're Bednar and you're looking down in front of you and you see 13 there, it's a big, big weapon in the arsenal. It's a big weapon.
And he comes on the power play and he sets up the game-winning goal with a beautiful sauce pass from around the net.
Yep.
He's undeniably incredibly important to this Avalanche lineup.
Massive.
Yep. There's no two ways around it.
And then you felt it in the playoffs. Again, I'm not going back to that when he took us, whenever he was, whatever you want to call it, when he was gone, what a hole that was.
Yep.
It's a big hole.
Yep. And
big hole at the start of the season.
Totally valid to have concerns around that, but on the ice, there's no doubt that the Avs need him.
Absolutely.
It is what it is.
Yep.
Looking through the rest of this Avs lineup, you have Jack Drury, who gets the extra empty netter. He was actually the guy getting mauled by Malkin. I got that wrong, but nonetheless, still a good thing. Parker Kelly picks up a point on that play. It's an empty netter, but your depth at least still is getting on the score sheet. And when you look at tonight, Bednar talked about their tough puck management. Look, they found a way to battle through, all right? That line got by tonight. It's not like it got its head kicked in. It wasn't great, but you did not get beat by Pittsburgh's depth tonight.
Nope. And it's exactly what you've been saying. You know what I mean? Like, would we have liked? Am I a little critical of what I like? I think it's more parts of those lines, not all the lines at the bottom. Would have liked to see a little bit more involvement. I think that's fair to say. Almost passenger-ish for a couple guys.
Yep.
So somewhere, I feel good. They got rewarded with a goal too. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. It's an empty netter. You're out there. You're trusted. That means you're out there. You know why I never got an empty netter in my career?
Because you were never out there.
I was never out there. Here you go. That's why. Good answer, Rudo.
I was never out there either. It makes you feel better.
It's funny. I was out there one time, and I gave it to John Clem because I thought I could get 20. And
you told me that.
I told you. I was at 18. I was like, I got 19 games to go. I'm fine. Everybody was mad at me for giving it to Clemmer. I was never out there for the empty netter, and then I passed it, and then you know what? I went over for the next 18. Yeah, that's my fault. Clemmer. God. Anyway.
Is that better? At least you didn't score one.
Yeah.
Like, imagine you scored one in the last. I had 19.
That would have been bad. We had bonuses back then to get there. It just got to my nerves. I got pressure. I couldn't deal with pressure. Anyway, I don't remember what we were talking about, but jury and stuff like that.
The depth
Those
didn't
guys,
play great, but they didn't lose you the game either.
Did Kale get an assist on that third goal?
On the third one? Was it the third or the fourth? Let me check.
That was the third. It hits
Wedgwood for sure.
Wedgwood or him. So that's why I was like,
what they'll consider an assist here.
If it touches you, that's an assist.
In theory, but you never know with the league this way. Right now, Lehkonen's is considered unassisted.
How?
Maybe
that'll be changed by the
maybe it doesn't hit Kale, but it hits the pen right there instead or something, which isn't possession. But I'm not rehashing this. That Nathan
but if it
McKinnon,
hits Wedgwood, that's an assist.
Right, but I'm saying Wedgwood then the pen.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Again, we'd have to look at it again.
Yeah.
Again, that was a big hit by Lindgren at the start of the game.
It was.
I'm going back. Yeah.
It was.
And then Sammy's hitting, and then he's like, you know what? I'm going to do my inner Lindgren. Sammy had a good night. I didn't like one turnover. I liked his game after that.
I feel like you could say that about a lot of guys tonight.
Yep.
They had one pretty poor defensive play at one point in the night, and then they got better.
Yeah.
So, look, there's a large part of me this time of year where, and look, I'm the analytics guy. Me and AJ are the analytics guys at this company. I don't know. Analytics are cool. They're important. They show you trends on any given night, especially at this time of year. Just win the game, man. Like, if you play a game and it's not great and you know you need to correct things, fine. But did you win? Then who cares? You can fix those things in practice in morning skate, and that's tomorrow's problem. Tonight you got your job done.
And that's why some guys are clutch, because they produce in the right situations.
Yep.
Like Val tonight, that's a big point.
Yep.
Yeah, Casey, absolutely, that's a big goal. But it seems like Val the last few years is always there in clutch time. You know what I mean? Even if he has a bad game, which he didn't, but he'll find a way to find like you're saying, analytically might not have had a good game, but boom, he's there at the right time. You know what I mean? And that's a big difference. Again, tonight he was great. That's not what I'm saying. But it's very important to look at everything a little bit. Analytics, eye test, feel, and like he always says about the cat, give you on to trustworthy, So it's very important.
A couple of other things. Unsung hero of this game might be the penalty kill.
Yep.
Obviously, the power play goes 1-for-1, scores its big goal, but your PK kills 2 penalties for you that are big. And I know Pittsburgh scores shortly after the second one, but still.
You won the special teams battle.
Right, exactly.
I don't care what people say, you won it. And that's the difference.
It matters.
It does.
Every step of the way matters. If they let up one of those power play goals, maybe they come out of that second period behind, and it's a completely different game. So there is some credit where credit is due there. I'm going to ask you this question again, E, and I'm not trying to be negative necessarily here.
Yeah.
You saw another game of the depth. You have Jimmy Vesey waiting in the wings. Who's he coming in for on this one?
I don't care who he comes in with for. Here's the way I look at it. When you get traded to a team, and I said that to you off camera, but when you get traded to a team and you get there and you don't play,
it's weird.
It's not like they flew in that game. They've been there a few days and practice, and and I understand that the Avalanche have played 2 good games before that, and it's tough to change your lineup. And on D was easier, obviously, for Ryan to get in there because Calvin DeHaan left, and of course you could have put Middleton or whatever it is, but it's just you don't want to sit too long before going in. So I'm hoping Jimmy gets in there. Again, I'm not the coach. I'm hoping Jimmy gets in there Thursday. It just makes you feel better. Get the butterflies out of the way, and it's tough when you're joining a new group. I don't care. He's been around. He's a veteran, but I think it'd be important. I don't care who you take out, honestly, on the depth, because anybody can be taken out. If you have to have a rotation till the end of the year because everyone's healthy, I got no problem.
Totally.
But you got to get guys in there, and you got to get guys in there to see what they want to do.
Don't read too much into this, but let me throw a stat at you.
Yeah.
11 of 12 forwards for the Avs broke the 12-minute mark tonight. Do you know who didn't?
I'm going to say Miles Wood.
Correct.
Yeah, I didn't notice him, I'm not here to bag on Miles, I'm saying. But there's a reason you're not getting as much ice time as the Cat or
Jack Drury or whoever.
I love saying the Cat. It's all. You guys know I love Kivy. I do because he's trustworthy, but he's a cat.
Chat, you got us over 100 likes for the winner shots. Appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, enjoying the game. We appreciate it. Cheers to you. Cheers to the dub. A little medicine from Dr. Dubs right here. Ooh. All right. With the Avs on a 3-game win streaky, they guarantee a minimum of 500 on the homestand, but let's not kid ourselves. The work is not done here. We said at the start of this, realistically, the goal for this homestand had to be 5-1 or better.
Without being disrespectful to any of the teams that have been coming in, we felt, as you know, that there was a couple tougher games. We knew Mini was coming on a back-to-back.
Yep.
But listen, the Devils are a weird Jekyll and Hyde team.
They are.
Can be great. They can be bad.
Tough now with Hughes out, but that was not the case for the Avs game.
Yeah. And then, that you're supposed to be Pittsburgh, San Jose, Chicago coming up.
Yep.
And then you have a good team in Toronto on a Saturday, hockey night in Canada.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Let's grow up. I had to say that. Growing up, that's what we did. We watched hockey night in Canada. But so I said it, you said it, we said it. 5-1 is a goal, but you're hoping to get a 6-0 game. Stretch.
Uh-huh.
And if you do that, it gives you wings, it gives you confidence. What else in that span? Well, A, you didn't get taxed on traveling and all that kind of stuff. B, the trade deadline is over by that Friday, of that fifth game, which it weighs on some guys.
You know who
it
you are
does.
at that point.
It's right. There's no more like, oh, what if, or am I leaving? Am I part of this? I want to be part of the solution. I want out. You know what I mean? You never know with guys, you know what I mean? So what I'm trying to say here is it's a very, defining moment of the season. You know what I mean? And it comes at a right time. It just didn't start right after the break. Even though it finished right before the break, those 2 games gave you a sour taste because one was like, hey, yay, we played well, but we didn't win. And then the other one was a stinker.
It sucked. Yeah.
And then it was like, you could tell the top guys were burnt. I think the Avalanche, the medical staff, the coaches, the players were really smart these last week or so. I think that the guys got a lot of rest. You got to make sure rest is important. They're obviously, I think it's important because of the way that they've managed the load of those guys and even the rest of the team. Again, this week, no practice tomorrow, no practice, no morning skate because Saturday is, obviously
5
Thursday it's a
game,
1 o'clock practice because the deadline's over.
Yep.
Friday.
Friday,
1 o'clock practice because the deadline's over at 1 o'clock our time. I think it's a great time to make hay, and they have, but it's not over, like you said. It's 50% over from that little thing, and I think Bednar talked about it today. Like, it's fun to have little part. Yeah, he goes, don't get bogged down too much in my 10-game segments because we all know he's so big on it. But I love it because I've always been big on it. But there's always games within the games in a game, but there's also games within the games on the schedule, and that 6-game schedule was something that they've looked at all year long. They knew that, all of a sudden they could make a push, to really get in there. At the end of the day, are they going to finish first? Probably not.
Definitely not first.
Are they even going to get home ice? Maybe not. Again, Dallas scores with 3.9 seconds tonight. It's like, come on. Falter a little bit, but they didn't. So who knows? But you definitely got to get into the dance, and we all know that, they're going to get into the dance, especially if they're playing like this. But those are important points to make sure that you get in the dance at 100% and not like, oh, God, you leave it to at the end to be like squeezing the stick a little bit, you know?
Yep. And then they're set up. I know we've mostly focused on them trying to chase down Minnesota. But you look at the backside of this. With the win tonight, they moved to 74 points. Calgary's at 67 with only 1 game in hand. So they have a 5-point lead on that team. You feel pretty comfortable there.
Yeah.
Same exact point totals. Vancouver has 2 games in hand, but at 65 points. It's
faltering too.
That team is in shambles, if we're honest about it.
It's been a long year for them.
Yeah.
Man, it feels like 3 seasons into one.
But the Avs have secured themselves where they can feel comfortable about making the playoffs. I think that's more or less always been the case, but it's pretty darn comfortable on paper now for Colorado. They can start to look ahead more. They don't have to focus on the back side of it. And Minnesota looks like they are going to win. There's like 2 minutes left in their game. They're up by 1. So Minnesota will remain 2 points ahead of the Avs. But the Avs are right there. They're in competition with Minnesota. Like you said, Dallas is going to be a little bit tougher to catch. But, you set goals for yourself, right? And sure, we're not going to get into the conversation about who do you want to play in the first round or whatever on today's show. That's a topic for another day. But if the Avs need something to chase, it's there with Minnesota and maybe a stretch goal of Dallas.
Yep.
It works. It works when you're winning.
And don't think Minnesota's going to throw the towel because they're missing Kaprizov and who else has been Eriksson Ek and all that kind of stuff. So these guys have heart. These guys fight through it. We might not like the Minnesota Wild, but somewhere somehow they've picked up points this season.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So they're not going to give up and then say, oh, yeah, you come on over. You take it over. Go ahead. No easy games in this league.
All right. If you're watching on television through one of our networks like Comcast or Samsung, we are going to have to jump off of there. But the conversation will continue online over at thednvr.com. So if you're watching us online, stick with us here as we have a couple more things to talk about in overtime. Number one. Let's hit the couple of super chats we do have, so let's get those. $2 from Keith. Thank you very much. No comment, but we appreciate you. And then $5 from Josh, who says, C-Mac said they weren't satisfied with the roster. Do you guys think Avs make one more bigger move or a couple smaller moves before the deadline? I will run around on the show shirtless on Friday if they don't trade for a center in the next 3 days.
Yeah, I do believe that he's trying. I do believe that he's made 6 already this year, so it's not like he's not trying, and he's laid it all on the line to make sure that core gets a chance at, winning it all again. And they're certainly trying. I'll say it again. I'm not defending here because this is not defending. It's a fact. You need a dance partner, and they're going to try. It's hard at the deadline sometimes because teams are calling, and it's crazy, especially as those next few days come. The funnel gets like this, and it gets a little bit more tight, and then there's a deadline, where all of a sudden you're fighting against Father Time. So I do believe they're trying. I do believe that they will get some, and I agree with Rudo. Something else will get done.
They're going to get a center. What caliber, who that center is, up in the air, but they're going to get a center.
Yeah, I got you.
And then it looks like Keith Romero's comment was, Lowe's Bros sounds so much better.
What is he?
Than the Home Depot gang or whatever.
I like it.
I'm pretty confident there will be another move for the Avs. I'll put it to you that
for
way.
sure.
I don't know who it'll be. I see chat wanting Ryan O'Reilly. I don't know if it's going to happen, as much as that would be cool.
We'll see.
But yeah, that'll be fun. By the way, on Friday, we'll be live all day. Probably go live around 10 a.m. Mountain Time. So we'll be live 3 hours before the official deadline. Then we'll probably kick it for an hour after the deadline when all the trades come in. And then we'll do our full proper show after that on Friday. So you can hang with us all day on trade deadline day if that's your thing. Come join us for that. Beyond that, our schedule, we are off tomorrow unless the Avs make a trade, and then you'll get an emergency pod. And then Thursday's game day. So same schedule there. So that's about all I got. Any final thoughts on this one?
Let's keep it up. We're going streaking.
There you go.
Frank the Tank.
Frank the Tank it. Make it 3-0, a 6-0, and then you're really talking. We are out of here for the night. We appreciate y'all. This has been the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by Bet365.
We all silly like the mayor.